I'm not exactly sure. Save is playing this very passively in the lane, just going back and taking the wolves. Najin White Shield needs to be more aggressive about pushing their advantage. They have absolute control over the map right now, and they just need to continue shoving that mid lane into the tower, because with their poke against the lack of wave clear from CJ Blaze, they will eventually win this.
Almost looks like a 3-man ARAM in the mid lane.
Yeah, except they're just not quite going hard enough here.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems that way. And you do have to wonder a little bit with Save. You know, he looks a bit intimidated right now to try to tangle with Flame. Flame a full level ahead.
Yeah, he also doesn't have that Tiamat, which is what he's going to be going for this game. So we will be seeing that build come out one more time.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like Flame with all that extra farm, too, is just ahead enough on items that it's going to be tough for Save to really bully him. Look, he's already down at about half health. And when we saw this work against Shen before, he got the charm. Not able to capitalize on it, though. Nice there. But, you know, when we saw that Tiamat on Renekton before, even when he picked up the pickaxe, he was already pushed up far enough to make it really tough for Shen to really do anything about it. It just does not look like that's what's happening with Flame. Yes, Save having to pop Dominus right there, too.
He also can't leave that lane because he needs to make sure that Flame can't get in with the Stand United in case the CJ Blaze members in mid decide to go all in right here.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to back off, and you'll see that his recall immediately prompts White Shield to pull off the turret.
Yep.
Because he has to go back, he has to go top off his health. And
this is an opportunity for Dragon, for CJ Blaze, too, possibly. They're moving down there right now.
Yeah, CJ Blaze, or Shield has been playing this too passively so far, and they really, unlike what we saw earlier, they really didn't do anything with the gold that they had managed to acquire early on in this game. And now we're actually seeing CJ Blaze a little bit ahead, but more ahead than it would seem, because Najin Shield invested so heavily into wards that they really didn't get much of an advantage from.
Yeah, that was a bit odd. Still a fairly close game, though. A lot of it depends on if CJ can get some of those picks that they want to get later in the game. And they do want that dragon, it looks like.
Yeah,
they're going for it. They've got, there's no vision there for Najin White Shield. They probably know where they are, but still. There they go.
And there's not really anything that's being done right here by Najin White Shield either.
Yeah.
They're not taking this advantage, although we'll see what Nove can do up in this top lane. They need to deal with Flame. He's getting pretty huge.
He's already got his Sunfire cape. It's going to be really hard to dive him under turret, but they're sending 4 people up there.
They could do it with
total.
4.
Yeah, Flame backing off now. He knows.
They really just want to get the turret down.
Ooh, Flame needs to be a bit careful there. Yeah, they'll just get the turret instead. So can CJ Blaze push his mid-turret response?
I don't think, again, they don't have the greatest wave clear ever, so it is going to be pretty hard, especially since they have to worry about getting collapsed on now from the top lane that the turret is down. They will have to pull off pretty darn quick.
Well, they did some decent damage to the turret, so got something done, but they are cutting it pretty close. Yeah, they're okay, though. Looks like.
Yeah, Ambition being left down here in order to try and take this bottom turret as well. Yeah, Najin Shield just not playing with the same degree of confidence that we saw earlier on in this WCG tournament, and they have to be careful because this is exactly
here we go. Ambition getting jumped on. There's the ultimate from him trying to get away. Stand United coming in. They do get the ult out of Flame, but Ambition gets away. That turret very low, too.
Yeah, that's actually going to be a big win for Najin White Shield because a lot of what they were doing depended on that Shen ult being down just for their own peace of mind. They saved the tower as well.
Yeah.
So now is their time to really start moving in and shoving these towers much more aggressively.
Well, you can see Save rotating into the mid lane right now, so it looks like that might be the order of business. Never mind, they're leaving mid.
Yeah, Save's probably going to keep split pushing just because he has that Tiamat. He's going to be much more useful in terms of wave clear and keeping the pressure up. He'll be able to outpush Shen at this point. So CJ Blaze may just go ahead and give up this middle tower. It doesn't have a lot of HP left on it anymore. So here we go. Save's going to push the lane in, and he will be joined pretty quickly by Zephyr right there, who may be able to take down the few remaining HP.
We'll see. Save lurking River for now. You I always wonder about the little hooks on Thresh's head. Because he can animate the other ones, so does he use those to like eat with?
That's right.
They like rotate down to like grab a hamburger or something and like hook it into his mouth?
Yep, it's just like an octopus.
I'm pretty sure. What else with little hooks on your head before, I guess? I don't know.
Well, the deep sea thresh has an octopus head, so
Oh,
that's,
well, yeah,
that's
then it's
confirmed.
obvious. Yeah. Well, there you go. Now we figured it out. Those are prehensile eating appendages for Thresh.
So Fizz now has that Lich Bane, which is, this is pretty early for a Fizz to get a Lich Bane. Ambition has been doing a good job of farming up, has that assist as well. And now it's kind of a moment of danger here. Lustboy's Oracle has expired right as Najin Whiteshield decides to start warding up again. So that Oracle didn't really do that much for Lustboy in this game because he kind of missed the rounds of wards put down by Shield.
Oh, Flame fighting with save. Here we go. They've actually got a lot of damage put onto Goong there. Two-shot barrage does miss. Daydream taking some damage. Both teams playing just so tentative. Oh, look at this though. Flame trying to make a run. Save gets caught by the Cocoon. He probably shouldn't have chased that one. Save popping Dominus. Can he live? Flame very, very low. They get back in. There's a zoning for the Zyra ultimate. Emperor chasing everyone down, doing a lot of damage. Goong pops over the wall. Lustboy takes the kill onto Gorilla. It looks like it'll be a double though for Goong. Now trying to chase down Save, Goong, and Nofe. CJ Blaze comes in, playful tricks over the wall. Goong very low on health. Emperor flashes to get in there. Can he get anything out of it? Ambition coming in to try to help out. Goong very low. Ambition looks like he'll be fine. It's a double kill for Emperor. In the end, CJ coming out a little bit ahead in that long team fight.
And that's the situation that Najin Whiteshield really has to avoid.
Yeah.
CJ Blaze did a great job of setting up that skirmish, and even though they lost a couple members for it, the fact that Zephyr wasn't with the group actually turned that into CJ Blaze's favor in a pretty big way. Zephyr, had he been there, they do have the superior 5v5, so...
Check the replay.
Yeah, if we take a look, Zephyr's farming bot lane, so Save gets very low. Now, Save does an excellent job of escaping this with the flash. Nofe comes in and he'll corral everyone with his Cataclysm right there. Gorilla gets caught out a little bit, but Goong manages to get the double kill with one Orb of Deception. Wow. And then Charm behind him, and then it's just running away from there. Emperor pursuing an Ambition. You can see the damage done with that Lich Bane, and they're not going to be able to pick anything up. And in this entire time, Zephyr has just been running across the map, not able to contribute, but he may have been able to ace Blaze had he been there.
Yeah, it's quite possible.
But Blaze, that said, Blaze would not have engaged that if they hadn't seen Zephyr all the way in that bottom lane.
Right.
So it was a good decision for the composition that CJ Blaze is running. They want those skirmishes. They don't want the 5v5s, and they took advantage with their assassination potential.
Yeah, I mean, we can really see that when you get CJ Blaze in sort of a dueling situation, and that was kind of a spread out dueling team fight, they're going to generally win. They've got that individual player skill, plus Najin Whiteshield, like you said, being down an AD carry in the fight.
Well, and they have Fizz and Vayne too, which is immensely helpful.
Assassin City, right?
Yeah. So the next Dragon fight is going to be really important for Najin Whiteshield. If they want to have a chance in this game, they've got to get that 5v5. They will have all their ults up at that time, all the ults up for both teams. So this could be pretty game deciding. Gorilla coming in to sweep with the Oracles. The vision advantage goes to Najin Whiteshield.
Whoa. Huh. Got the charm over the wall. All the skill shots miss. And now Gorilla will clear that out with the Oracles. So Najin Whiteshield trying to push up that bot lane. They still do have their bottom turret available, and now it's all about that duel around the dragon pit. A dance with dragons has begun.
That's right.
We didn't have to wait 5 years for it, for this one. Yeah.
Well, we only have to wait for Dragon and Baron dances for 5 years in the EU LCS.
That's true. That's true. Oh, they got the ult onto Zephyr. Zephyr Arcane shifts away, but Ambition all over him with the Shen ultimate. Meanwhile, Daydream goes down almost immediately. Gorilla trying to back out the fight. Flame zoning quite well. Now Ambition comes in for yet another one. Save goes down, just not very tanky with that build, and Emperor wants to claim one onto Goong, and he will. Double kill, though, goes to Ambition. He gets the killing blow.
That was an insane taunt by Flame right there.
That's what he does.
He hit nearly everybody as they clustered together. Didn't even have his flash up to do it either, so very poor positioning from Najin Whiteshield. They totally set themselves up for that one after Ambition had a bit of a questionable engage, but Flame entirely turning that around.
You know, I mean, we talked about it before, too, and this isn't like a new thing for Flame to be making huge taunts in team fights. Let's watch that again.
This is so good. Okay, so Ambition comes across. Zephyr gets chunked nearly immediately. So we see 3 members that are, 3 members cluster up for 1 taunt right over the ledge right there. And that buys enough time. Save in the meantime finds himself dueling with Vayne, not a place you want to be in. And there's that second follow-up taunt. So Flame, over the course of that team fight, hitting 4 members with taunt. Very impressive Shen play.
I feel like you just need to ban Shen against Flame. It's just too good.
All right, well, Najin White Shield does manage to pick up the dragon after reviving, so they're not too far down right now. But they have to be much more careful in these team fights and respect Flame's abilities to wait for that big taunt and then land it. Yeah. And it's only going to be more dangerous when he has flash up next time.
Yep. Be too long. Can you give that red buff? Over to Daydream, it looks like.
In terms of itemization, the Tiamat into Sunfire pretty normal. That's going to allow Renekton to completely outpress. Of course, the DFG first onto Ahri. And we'll be moving into the Last Whisper on Zephyr now that he's completed the Trinity Force for that extra bit of poke damage. So
the damage getting quite high for both of these teams. And here comes CJ Blaze. Can they get a pick? Possibly onto someone from White Shield. Both save and Goong falling back. Now they don't want to get involved in that. And this is going to allow CJ Blaze to just push the lanes up. I mean, we saw White Shield rely so much on that smart maneuvering, on that map control, and CJ Blaze through these skirmishes is kind of just taking it all away.
Yeah, Najin White Shield definitely had the opportunities in the early game to shove the mid turret significantly harder than they did and get even deeper wards into the jungle. They didn't really use the gold that they invested into those wards particularly well early on in this game. Yeah. And now CJ Blaze is roaming with 4 as Shen mercilessly split pushes, and this is exactly the kind of situation that CJ Blaze wants to be in.
Yeah, and the position that Najin White Shield want to avoid, but it's too late now. So what do you think? Najin White Shield obviously trying to get all the vision control they can over their own jungle, but do they try to do something to kind of force that 5v5 team fight? Looks like they're trying to get a little bit more vision over Baron, but it's not going to be easy. I mean, the thing is that even if they do have a big team fight, CJ Blaze just has so many ways to break it up, you know, to break up the team fight into these smaller duels. I mean, honestly, if I was Najin White Shield right now, I'd be sweeping the south side of my jungle and trying to gank Flame with 5 members, if that's possible. But they really need to make a play on Shen because he's the dangerous one to come in with the 4 members and not going to be able to ult away if you hit him with multiple people. But you can see that Flame is very tentative right there. When Save shows the slightest bit of aggression, he immediately taunts out because he doesn't know where anyone on this team is at the moment. Yeah, exactly. And so far, Najin White Shield using that two-shot barrage to try to keep the lanes pushing in their favor. CJ Blaze taking control of the Baron area of the map. And they've got vision right now. And, oh, Gorilla has to use his flash ambition coming over the wall in anticipation of that death sentence hitting. Yeah, smart call there. Smart move by Lust Boy, and both teams trying to set up a pick right there, but yeah, CJ Blaze far more dangerous in that department. Although with Ahri with the Void Staff now, she can take out a couple of members pretty easily, depending on who she manages to encounter. And Save! He went deep, man. Flame and Save dueling in this bot lane. Everybody moving over there now. Flame very, very low. Save's going in on this one. Goon coming in. They're going to get the kill onto Save. Flame lives. Oh, man. Saving a little bit too deep there. Nope. And a few other members of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming up, but they're a little bit too late. Meanwhile, yeah, Guggen Ambition here dueling in the jungle. He had no wards there either, far up, so he had no idea that that rotation was coming because we do see CJ Blaze manage to maintain control around the Baron, and there was a possibility there that they would be baiting at Baron as well. So not the most obvious rotation in the world, just a lot of mystery for Najin White Shield to deal with. Yeah. Still definitely not unwinnable for Najin White Shield, but it's not going to be easy at this point. You can't really duel, and you can't really team fight, and you can't really push safely.
They can team fight in the right circumstances. They are going to be pretty tanky, but they don't have that Aegis yet. Meanwhile, Daydream already completing that. It's going to be a pretty important difference.
You catch Nofe with the Cocoon. Daydream and Flame trying to get out of the jungle. Ambition already recalling there. Nofe. They do get the flash out of Daydream. And now the main split push begins. And that's one of the big dangers for Blaze too, is that it's not just Shen.
And this is actually something we've never seen from CJ Blaze before, which is a willingness to solo split push with Vayne.
I don't think they ever had a carry that could really do it before.
Well, Captain Jack is a good Vayne player, but there are only certain teams that are willing to do this, and she's going to back off immediately after they see the recalls coming down. Doesn't want to get cut off in a pick right there, but Emperor, he's the best choice to go up against the Renekton at this point, and they may switch up to a 3-1-1 split push, even though their 3 core is pretty weak. They're not going to be able to push a lane with it. But if they can get enough vision control over one side of the jungle, they'll be in a good situation in order to prevent quick rotations just because of the fear of Fizz.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like with Emperor too, though, I mean, I feel like when I watch him, I see a little bit more confidence and willingness to kind of live a little bit more dangerously than Captain Jack did. Yeah, despite his great cleanses and everything, I feel like there's just more confidence there, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely true. He doesn't play as passively.
Yeah. Okay,
well, they're going to just 5-man this, which I think is the absolutely right decision for Najin White Shield right now.
They have to do something. Oh, the ultimate from Fizz does miss. There's a Zyro ultimate. Nofe getting a little bit caught up. Nice death sentence from Gresham backline. Meanwhile, Zephyr trying to kite backwards. CJ, everybody coming in. There's the box. They do lock up Zephyr quite nicely. He'll go down. Daydream, the only casualty so far on Blaze, and they're going to go ahead and take out Save as well. A 1-for-4. Goong barely escapes. Yet another double kill for Emperor. And that is a really good step in the right direction for CJ. That's going to mean a Baron for sure.
Well, at this point, with how farmed Ambition has managed to get, and already having that Zhonya's as well, I mean, there's just so much damage coming out of CJ Blaze. And it was the right call for Najin White Shield to do that because they were simply inferior at split pushing. They were inferior at creating picks. And so the only thing they had left was, can we actually win if we group as 5 and start sieging a turret? And the answer is no. So at this point, it's looking grim for Shield and great for Blaze. If we take a look at this again, Ambition misses his ult, but a nice use of Stand United in order to initiate this fight. Najin Shield didn't quite kite back fast enough right there, and they got chunked hugely. Goong has to use his ult to escape. Pretty much everything used just to get out. Lustboy with a great box right there, catching 3 members, and that allows Ambition just to bait the rest of them in with Zhonya's.
Yeah. A little bit of contention over Dragon here between the two teams, but Blaze should be able to take it again after that last team fight. I don't think that Shield has any interest in 5v5ing a Baron-powered CJ Blaze.
No, but again, wave clear rather, not great for CJ Blaze. So they don't have a composition where they're going to be able to siege turrets, even with Baron, particularly effectively. They really need to make a pick first.
Yeah.
Because their siege is just terrible, though.
Well, I think they're okay with that.
So in spite of the fact that there's not a lot I feel that Najin White Shield can do to come out with a victory right now, there's also not, it's going to be a while before CJ Blaze can actually finish out this game. We'll see, though. Najin White Shield just using that superior wave clear in order to wait out the Baron buff.
And Flame just farming once again in the top lane. He's still got that Stand United. Didn't even need to use it in that last fight.
Yeah, Ambition's going to be the most helpful person for wave clear with Playful Trickster at this point. But it's not quite as good as a Tiamat-powered Renekton and Inari.
Najin White Shield, thinking about trying to make a pick there, but then they break off just a little bit. Yeah, Ambition is there already. And it's a little bit worrisome Kind of sending Ambition down to the bot lane once again, just to keep that.
The only thing they can do is split push in order to end this game, and they need Ambition there because he's got the Lich Bane and will be able to take out towers very effectively.
Also hard to duel for Najin White Shield right now as well, of course. Oh. And Gorilla gets caught a little bit. They actually grab save here. Gorilla going down very, very fast. CJ Blaze, Vayne in the back, in a lot of trouble. Goes down to Goon. Goon caught in the middle of everything, though. He'll go down to a kill from Lustboy. Zephyr trying to back off. He's been slowed a bit. Nice play there to get him back into the team fight. Flame comes in, taunt over the wall to get away. And that was pretty good for Shield, actually.
Yeah, that was not a good pick for CJ Blaze.
Oh.
They didn't have Fizz there, who is a substantial amount of their damage. And when Emperor got focused down immediately, even with the Stand United on top of him, that's just not going to be something that works out particularly well for you. He probably shouldn't have been in that brush with the rest of the members, standing a little further back so at least he could create some distance to start off with him, because they've got a lot of gap closers with Jarvan and Renekton, and so it made it pretty easy for Najin White Shield to get the only source of damage in that four-man fight.
Right. And so far the bot lane is saved because of all that. And really Najin White Shield still only 6k gold down, but this is one of those games where the gold totals aren't, you know, they're farther down than they look. Again, because of those early pink wards they bought before in the game, and also just sort of situationally, their items don't really end up mattering quite as much with the map presence that CJ has right now.
Yeah, and Fizz needs so few items to be insanely deadly.
And he's gotten those.
And he has them.
He's pretty much insanely deadly right now.
Yes, it's pretty much everything you could ever want on Fizz. The rest of it is just gravy from here on out.
Zyra grabbed him, you could call it deadliest catch.
Deadliest catch.
Right. And now Najin White Shield trying to push up the middle again. Save isn't there. And it looks like they will back off. Trying to maybe make a bit of a pick, we'll see. No, not so much. You know, the play calling for Shield, it does feel a bit disjointed at this point. I mean, yeah, they're in that situation, but
it just feels they feel a lot more reluctant, a lot less confident than they did against the Jin Air Stealths. They played scared early on when they had very clear vision of what was going on with CJ Blaze, and they let Blaze do what Blaze does, which is farm, super farm Flame and Ambition in the side lanes. And when Ambition's playing a champion like Fizz that does a lot with a little, that just, you can't let that happen without punishing it in some way. And instead, they kind of just diddled around the mid lane.
Well, either way, it is best of 3, so even if they do end up losing this one, they've got time to come back and be a bit more confident.
Well, I mean, they're just playing tower defense at this point.
Yeah.
And this game is still likely going to go for a while if CJ Blaze can't get a pick, because their siege is just so poor. So their ability to close is limited.
It is irritating. Now Baron's up in about a minute. I feel like if there's going to be a big team fight soon, it's going to be around there.
Oh, I don't think.
And you can see White Shield clearing out the area.
The thing is, Shield doesn't need to team fight, because if Blaze does Baron, they can just poke into the pit all day. It is actually very dangerous for Blaze to go for a 5v5 Baron in spite of their lead. Well, Flame has the Randuin's Omen now, so he's got pretty much everything a Shen could want as well.
Yeah. Except for like a friendly ninja buddy. Because the whole Zed thing didn't work out, so.
Yeah, you gotta get a Kali in here.
That's true. Kali and Kennen, I guess he does have ninja buddies, doesn't he?
They're just better ninjas than him.
That's true.
They're actually sneaky.
He doesn't know where they are.
You can't find them in this game, Doa.
That's right. Well, we don't see him right now.
If you have ninja friends, it's awfully hard to get a hold of them.
That's true. I mean, you're like, hey, you try to call them up and like, oh, they're ninjas, they don't have phones. Because, I mean, nothing's worse than you're on a ninja contract and suddenly your phone goes off. It ruins everything, let me tell you.
Oh, the True Shot Barrage.
No! Very close.
Especially with Thresh there dealing the final blow.
You can always count on your support, though.
Yeah, Daydream intentionally not using Smite right there. Wants to save it for Baron if necessary.
Oh, yeah. Need a skin that's like awkward moviegoer Shen or something where just like his pager, nobody uses a pager anymore, but like his cell phone goes off at like inopportune times, you know?
It would suit the character.
Standing a brush trying to gank and suddenly like you hear on your screen even though you can't see him, oh boy.
Very dangerous, but they are just letting Flame split push right here. Are they going to just go for the Baron? They're still trying to set up the pick. They're trying to get that vision control back. Dangerous situation. And Ambition.
Oh, they're right in a ward. Oh man. Oh, Gorilla could grab him so easy.
They want to charm him.
Oh, there we go. They're going to go on the Lust Boy instead. They actually missed the QE combo. Goon coming in. They managed to take out Lust Boy. Almost. No Shen. Stand United coming in. Goon goes down in the back line very quickly. Lust Boy falls, but that's okay because CJ has that dueling situation they want now. Zephyr, though, gets the kill on Ambition. Double kill, though, for Ambition as he dies. Daydream trying to back up Save in the back lines. Pretty deep. Emperor trying to kite as best as he can. Can Save get in there? Oh, a double kill for Daydream. He and Emperor barely get to take out Save, and no has to back off.
Najin Whiteshield really overcommitted to the Lust Boy kill. It should have been aborted when all of their CC missed, but they continued to go after it, and even though Nofe managed to get the Cataclysm down, which basically trapped Shen inside the ultimate, which was a good idea because that forced Flame to make a decision about how he was going to use his flash and his taunt, and it made it so that he couldn't get a lot of people in that taunt. Let's watch this again. So right here, they miss everything. This is where you back off. But Goon continues to go in, and he gets in a bad position where Ambition gets right on top of him with the ultimate. Now look at this. Nofe manages to bottle up people inside of his ultimate, and Flame doesn't really get to be a part of this fight until much later on. However, still, they group up in that brush, and that causes the taunt to hit too. And after that, it's pretty much just clean up here from Emperor. There's not anybody who's going to be able to stop him.
Yep. So, kind of a dire straits right now for Najin Shield. Not a lot they can do. They're 12K gold down now.
Yeah, Daydream even getting a Banshee's Veil at this point, just so that he's not going to be caught out. He has that extra MR against the Ari burst as well. So good pickup in the late game situation, especially if he's going to be running point through the jungle.
Yeah, here they go.
Now CJ Blaze still going to have some problems with the siege right here. They're going to continue to split push. They've sent Emperor into that mid lane because nobody can actually duel him right now as they shove the wave closer on in.
Yeah, he's going to just rotate bottom as well with Lust Boy and close that out as well. Everybody recalling from CJ Blaze in the meantime.
A little bit of a strange time to recall right there, but Flame has gone back, picked up his Thorn Mail, so he is about as tanky can be.
Yeah.
He's up a full Randuin's in terms, and Thorn Mail in terms of rank armor items. On Save still with that Tiamat, but
see how much armor he has when they click on him, we'll see.
324.
324, yeah, that's pretty tanky.
Yeah, he also has that Alacrity enchantment just because he needs that mobility, both on the map and in terms of the team fights.
All that armor weighs him down.
Well, not anymore. He's pretty speedy little ninja right now in spite of
now.
All those steel plates.
That's why he got it. I don't know. Shen just continues to be kind of an unimpressive ninja. Buying all this armor, not even getting ninja tabby. They put an item with the word ninja in it in the game, and he still doesn't buy it. Shen, I don't know.
I don't know about you, Shen.
I don't know about you, Shen. You're a crazy guy. Keeping your swords behind your back like that, your arms like held up the entire game. His hands have to like be totally asleep by the end of most matches.
Well, certainly after 38 minutes here they are.
Yeah, no kidding.
And GA now on to Ambition also, so there's just, again, there's not a lot Najin Whiteshield can do, but there's not really much that CJ can do to close out this game. So we're kind of stuck in League of Legends purgatory right now.
I guess so.
You don't actually see this too often, but it's one of the dangers of running a comp like the one we see CJ Blaze run.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yes, our comp worked, and then you're like, well...
This actually This reminds me of the TSM versus OMG game at the World Championship, where they were also stuck in League of Legends Purgatory, where OMG had an obvious advantage but had the wrong composition to close out the game.
Yeah.